Hey everyone, in this video we're going to go over what are support and resistance lines. We're going to show how to draw them, we're going to show how to use them, I'm going to show what reversals look like, and I'm also going to show some flips. It's going to be short, sweet, and a basic understanding. So to get into it, let's just start. What is a support line? Okay, and let's just understand what a support line is before we get into the technique of how to draw them. So for me, a support line is basically where I may have support. So in other words, if a stock is going to drop, such as this, or a stock is going to drop, such as this will give me support, right? This will show me where the downtrend of that stock may end, okay? So that's the definition that I just want you to wrap your head around for a support level. Think of it as where a price should stop dropping. Simple enough, right? That's where support is. Okay, so that's how you view what support is. Now, to give you an example here, and we're going to run through a couple examples, but just to give you an example, okay, you want to find at least two spots to make a support line. If you don't have two spots, you don't have a support line. And you really like to look for places where you have like a wide range and it's stopped, because you'll find out that they're usually the strongest support lines, okay? So there you are. So when you look at this, what you're going to see, right, is you're going to see 1, 2, roughly 3 we got near it and stopped. So this is how you would draw a support line. You would see where you're going to stop, right, and then go into the assumption that, hey, this downtrend should stop around here. And if you utilize this once it was in place, you could see how you could benefit from that with what took place here. And just to how to draw a support line, let's go through just a couple more examples so that we're on the same page. So let's take here. And I already had this one in from before, but let's just get rid of it. And we're going to just draw it right back in, okay? And you can use this for any time frame. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But you can see 1, 2, okay. Well, we've stopped here twice. And, okay, stopped here. And here, and here, and here, right? So now you have a basis of where you know where the support line is for this. Because I have more than 1, 2, 3, in some cases 4, right? So now we can kind of understand where that support line would be. And then finally, let's just do one more. Okay, so let's take a look for a support line here and see if we could find one. So what we want to do again is we want to focus on where we are actually seeing support. Okay, so if we look at it, and this one's a little trickier than the other ones, and I'm using this one for a reason, because it's not just about where we're at, right? So it's not just about the fact that it may have broken or not broken. You can use 1, 2 spots where it stopped, right? But on top of that, you also have a little break right here. So does that mean the support line's ruined? Did it close over that support line? No. So if it doesn't close over, or I'm sorry, if it doesn't close under that support line, is it ruined? No, it's not. So that's how you should be viewing how to draw a support line and use that very simple definition of what a support line is. Okay. So the next that I would focus on is I would focus on resistance lines. Now that you have a basic understanding of what a support line is, let's focus on resistance lines, okay? And resistance lines are exactly pretty much the opposite of what you would expect, right? So when you think of resistance, that's where you're going to have an issue, right? That's where your issue would come in, right? It would come in this area where you would kind of realize that, wow, I don't seem to be able to get ahead of that. Okay, well, let's see if we can find something. So again, it's the same exact process. All you're looking for is 1 or 2 data points, right? And then you start. So you start with this 1 data point, and then you find another, and then all of a sudden, you have a support line. Or I'm sorry, I apologize. You have a resistance line, okay? And you can see how the resistance line runs through here, how you break it, come back down, trade around right on it, okay? So that's how you would draw a resistance line. It's literally the inverse, right? You would draw them solely based on where you're rejecting over and over again. You're drawing them on price rejection. Very different than where you're drawing them on where they're finding buyers. Here you're drawing them where you're finding sellers. Okay, that's how to think about support and resistance lines and how to draw them. And let's just go through a couple more examples. Okay, here you are with our line here for support, and then we would like to look at this and say, can we find a spot where we see a resistance? Well, we would look for one or two spots where we could see a resistance. And here's where we see one. Okay, so we see it where? Trying to get through, cannot, trying to get through. That means we have resistance. Tries again, resistance. Tries again, resistance. Okay, so now you have a spot where you have resistance. Okay, so that's what you need to focus on. Now that you know how to do support and resistance, we're going to do one more. Now that you know how to do these, okay, and that's all you're looking for, whether you're using point and figure charts, does not matter. If I come across here, we could see a resistance point, right? Some people may say, this is the resistance point, or this is the resistance point, right? And they would be accurate, okay? So you can have multiple resistance points, not just one resistance point, just like you can have multiple support levels, all right? So that's how to draw them, and that's what they are. Now, how to use them? Well, the way to use them is to understand how they move, and then understand when they come to these levels that they could be buys. Okay, so if I wanted to buy this stock, all I'm waiting for is for it to come down to this level if I'm using a support line as a trade. Okay, that's my focal point. So that's how you would use it. Very simple. When it gets down to this line, I would look at entering a position. Okay, and you can see here it'd be pretty effective. Okay, right here for resistance, this would tell me that I need to be careful. When I get up to this level, I need to be careful. And we can kind of see how we broke out and didn't, and over time how we created a new resistance. So we would use these by understanding that if we get to this level and we don't break, this would be a great spot to short or to sell. And let's go through two more examples of this so you can kind of get it. And here you are. Okay, right? Here's your resistance line. Here's you breaking through that resistance line. But before you break through it, here you are again. Let's just zoom right in on it. Okay, you're hitting it. So every time you're hitting that, you could have been a seller. Okay, and then every time that you got to your support line, you could have been a buyer, right? And you're really getting the signal here because now you have two data points, which is exactly what you need. And that gives you a little bit of a signal there, doesn't it? So that's how you use them in regards to that example. And then I'm just going to do one more example, and then we can kind of go from there. And next, I want to show you what reversals look like so that you're aware of them. So again, here, and let me just zoom in on this section so that we can see this. So what you're seeing is here and here support levels. So if you bought at this support level, you did fairly well. If you sold at this resistance level, you did fairly well. Okay, that's what you're looking for. You're looking at how to use support and resistance levels. Now, with that said, what's really important for people to understand, people need to take a look at this and understand when have they broken those levels, and then what can you do with them. And very cleanly, we're just going to go through this. So in other words, what is a reversal? Okay, a reversal is when I've hit that line and it's decided that it's going to go through. And what does that mean? Okay, so it's very clean. Okay, here's a resistance line. Okay, so we know that we broke over it here, and we know that we came right back down and closed nearly on it. Then we broke out here, okay? So when you break out through this, this means that you have the opportunity, now that this level has been cleared, this resistance level has been cleared, this gives you the opportunity to go higher, and that's exactly what happened here. And then you can see how this becomes more of a range than an exact number, and that's exactly what happened here, right? And then again, here, what you're doing is you're running up. Okay, and why are you running up? Because you've broken above what? Your resistance level. And that's what you need to focus on. Okay, now with that said, that's a reversal, okay? Because you're getting above a level. Why is it a reversal? Because you're flipping the level. And I'm going to explain what flipping the level means now. So we're taking the term reversal and we're adding flipping levels to it, okay? What that means is, see this resistance line that's here? Okay, this resistance line becomes support now, okay? So in other words, this level has flipped as soon as you've broken out here. And then what you'll see over time, and what's really important is maybe you come back down to that level, and then maybe you don't come back down to that level, right? But the bottom line is, as you progress, you'll understand where that support level is in case this comes back down into it, okay? So let's go through a couple more examples here. Again, and let's zoom in on this. Okay, so here's where you're at, and you break it, right? And you go through it. Once you're through it, what does that do? That means that, and we close above it, it means that you flip this level. When you flip it, you're reversing the resistance and it's becoming support. So you're flipping that level, okay? And that's really important for you to understand. So again, here, support, and then we take off. And then you can actually see where you can see other resistance levels and how they flip. So let me just give you another example here. I find that looking at more examples, the more we look and the more we study, the better we do. So you can see how you stopped here and how that became a support level. And you can see the battle that went on through here in these levels and how this support level from the break over here became resistance. So you can see how a support level can be resistance and resistance can be a support level upon reversals of the trade. So there are key levels that you want to make sure that you have marked because they are very effective. And they're very effective at getting in and out of stocks. And as we've shown here, and let's just do one more. There we go. So again, support level, right? And you can see that. And then we get through it, okay, only to come back down. And then when we come back down, it's supposed to be support, and it really wasn't. Tries to flip here and be support, and it really wasn't. Again, tries again, and then what happens here? It flips it, becomes support, goes higher, okay? And then you can see how we came back down, and you can see how that other support line becomes resistance here. So that's it. And just to recap, I wanted to do a very basic video on support and resistance lines, how to draw them, how to use them, reversals, and how to play those flips. So as always, please subscribe to the channel because we're going to start doing more and more of these kinds of videos, very basic videos for people to understand. And I think it's important for people to grasp the basic concepts before they get into more advanced videos, which I do have. And if you're looking for more, I would watch the candlestick video that'll be linked at the end of this. And please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you're aware of it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.